नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Yes, so anyone remembers what we discussed in our last session? Someone would like to summarize?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Lord Krishna said we have to do the work to of निष्काम कर्मयोग. निष्काम कर्मयोग मीन्स कर्तृत्व भाव में, मतलब अभिमानित्व होके शून्य होके काम करना और वो भगवान को श्री चरण में अर्पण करना, तभी वो निष्काम कर्मयोग होता है एक्चुअली. विदाउट निष्काम कर्मयोग में केवल कर्म करने से वो कर्मयोग नहीं होता है.
Okay. Yes. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I can summarize. We discussed verse number 3.9, where Krishna said that the work done for the sacrifice to Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise it would be the cause of the bondage. And we understood that the yajna means that any action done for the pleasure of Krishna. So if we do an action for anything else, that would be a cause of bondage. But if we can do sacrifice for the satisfaction of Krishna, that would be not considered as something that would cause bondage to this world, material world.
Correct. Wonderful. Yes. Anyone else would like to add or something on this? Yes. So as rightly mentioned, so we discussed verse number 3.9, in which we discussed about how these yagnas has to be performed, or our work has to be performed in connection with the Lord, so that we are free from the bondage of this material world. The bondage of this material world is what? Cycle of this birth and death. It keeps binding us in this material world, and we keep taking birth, we keep dying. All these things happen in a cycle. Sometimes we are human, sometimes we may be ant, sometimes we may be some dog, cat, all such species. We are just going through one life after another life. We are taking birth and we are dying. All those things are happening. So what is the solution? Solution is to come out of this bondage, to come out of karma bandhana. How we can come out of this bondage is by performing work which is going to satisfy the Lord Hari or Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. When we perform such work, then we can get free from the bondage, or we can get free from the death. Harim Vinana Mritim Taranti. Without taking shelter of Lord Hari, one cannot cross over the death. So one has to take shelter of the Supreme Lord. How one can take shelter of the Supreme Lord? By chanting His holy name, by offering some food stuff, by offering a flower, by offering water, or by offering anything in the service of the Lord. One can surrender, or one can serve the Supreme Lord, because we are His part and parcel. So when we serve Him, we can get out of this material existence. By His mercy, by His grace, He can take us out of this material existence. Then only it is possible. So we will continue with the verse number 10. Fourth chapter. Yes, verse number 10. Please join in chanting the shloka. Sahayagna praja srishtva
जग प्रजाशिष्ट
Puro vacha prajapatihi
पुरोवाचा
प्रजापति
प्रजापतिः
anena prashavishyadvam
अनेन विशोदस्मेष
प्राविश्यध्यत्वम्
eshayo vastu ishtakamaduk.
जहस्तिष्ठकामोऽधुक.
Anyone would like to chant the shloka?
Yes. भगवान वाच सह जग प्रजाशिष्ट पुरोवाच प्रजापति अनेन विश्वमेश ज्योतिष्ठकामोऽधुक.
Wonderful. Anyone else? Anyone else would like to try? Alright, we'll continue with the translation. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with the sacrifice for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna, because its performance will bestow upon you all desirable things." So here Krishna is telling, when this creation started or when this creation happened, so Lord, He created all the beings like men, demigods, all the living entities, and especially for men and demigods, He gave sacrifice also, how to perform yajna. How He gave? Through Vedas. And by performing yajna, one can be happy. Not only happy, he can get whatever he desires. Yajna is so powerful, he can get whatever he desires also. So now, by performing, just like if we see, suppose you create a house. You create a house. Now to sustain or to maintain house, some family member has to stay there or some caretaker has to stay there. Same way, the Lord has created this entire material existence, this creation, and He has sent for this demigods and the human beings. And how to maintain this creation? When they perform the yajna, the creation will be maintained. The creation will be maintained very easily. And by performing such yajna, they are not only happy, they will get whatever there is a need, desirable things they want, they will receive all those things. So we'll read the purport and we'll discuss more in detail. The material creation by the Lord of creatures, Vishnu, is a chance offered to the conditioned souls to come back home, back to Godhead. So the entire purpose of this material existence is what? So that we can come out of this material world. We have got this human form of life. This is the only opportunity by which we can cross over this material bondage and we can cross over this material world. So there is a chance which has been offered to all of us. We have got this opportunity. How? By getting this human form of life. All living entities within the material creation are conditioned by material nature because of their forgetfulness of their relationship to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Vedic principles are to help us understand this eternal relation as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Vedasya sarve aham eva vedya. The Lord says that the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Him. In the Vedic hymns it is said, Patim Vishwasya Atma Ishwaram. Therefore, the Lord of the living entity is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. So when this creation was also created, these Vedas were also given. So these Vedas are what? These are the like manual for the human existence. These are like a manual for the human existence. And the entire purpose of Vedas is what? Vedasya sarver aham eva vedyam vedantagrit vedavid evacham. Entire purpose of the Vedas is to understand Krishna. To understand Krishna. Vedasya sarver aham. Aham means Krishna is telling to understand me. And purpose of Vedas is how to develop that relationship with Krishna, how to serve him. That is the entire purpose of the Vedas. Not just to learn, to become a scholar, but to progress spiritually, to develop that relationship, personal relation with the Supreme Lord. That is the purpose of the Vedas. All this knowledge. Veda itself means knowledge of everything. So everything, Krishna is Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo. Krishna is the Lord of everything. So, purpose of the Vedas is to know that Lord of the everything, who is everything, that is Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam also, Sukdev Goswami describes the Lord as the Pati in so many ways. Shriyapati, Yagnapati, Prajapati, Dyampati, Lokapati, Dharapati. Patir Gatis, Chandaka, Vrishni Satvatam, Prasidatam me, Bhagwan Satam Pati. Pati means, in general, Pati means master or Lord. So the Praja will continue. The Prajapati is the Lord Vishnu, and he is the Lord of all living creatures, all worlds, and all beauties, and the protector of everyone. The Lord created this material world for the conditioned souls to learn how to perform yajna for the satisfaction of Vishnu, so that while in the material world they can live very comfortably without anxiety. Just like if we see in a nation or in a country or in a kingdom, there is a prison house. The purpose of prison house is what? So that those who are prisoners, those who are there in the prison house, they can reform, they can get reformed, and they can be a good citizen. That is the purpose of prison house. The person who has committed some crime, he can be sent there, he can get reformed. Once he return back, he is now a reformed person, a good citizen. That is the purpose of the prison house. Same way, here it is mentioned, the purpose of the material world is what? To perform yajnas for the satisfaction of the Lord Vishnu. Then after finishing the present material body, they can enter into the kingdom of God. That is the whole program for the conditioned souls. By performance of yajna, the conditioned souls gradually become Krishna consciousness and become godly in all respects. So here see, very nice thing Prabhupada has mentioned. By performance of yajna, the conditioned soul gradually become Krishna consciousness and become godly in all respects. Yagne ve Vishnuhu. Lord Vishnu is Yajna himself, or Yajna is personification of Lord Vishnu. So when Yajna is performed, some sacrifice is performed, some act is performed for the pleasure of Vishnu, what happens? We gradually become Krishna conscious. We develop all such godly qualities which will help us to make spiritual advancement. Just like without God, one cannot have godly qualities. Just like without sun, there is no sunlight. There cannot be a sunlight. Sun must be there to have a sunlight. Same way, we should serve Krishna, we should serve the Supreme Lord, God, by which we can have all these godly qualities also. It is like a byproduct. This is not the goal. It is a byproduct. Right? I will continue further. In this age of Kali, the Sankirtana Yajna, chanting of the names of God, is recommended by Vedic scriptures. And this transcendental system was introduced by Lord Chaitanya for the deliverance of all men in this age. Sankirtana Yagna and Krishna consciousness go well together. Lord Krishna in his devotional form is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam as follows with a special
हाँ यार
reference
काम तो
to
सही
the
लग रहा है.
Sankirtan Yagna. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagna Sankirtana Praya Yajantihi Sumedasa. In this age of Kali, people who are endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord who is accompanied by his associates by performance of Sankirtan Yagna. Other yagnas prescribed in the Vedic literatures are not easy to perform in this age of Kali, but the Sankirtana Yagna is easy and sublime for all purposes. So here, now we will try to understand how Yagna help to sustain the entire creation. So basically, when someone's perform the yagna or satisfy the Supreme Lord, what happens? Nature, first thing happens is nature produces all resources in abundance. There will be no scarcity of the natural resources. Just like during the time of Ramayana, Lord Ram's time, what Ravana used to do or demons used to do those days is to stop the saintly persons or sadhus to perform yagna, by which there was a disturbance in the society. So when these yagnas are performed, and this yagna also happens to have a good progeny. How? When these yagnas are performed, so the living entity takes the shelter in the raindrop. When yagnas are performed, there is a sufficient rain. There is a sufficient rain when yagnas are performed. So when the living entity, the soul, takes shelter in the raindrop, that raindrop when falls onto the ground, and from that water there is a crop, some grain is grown. So suppose rice, wheat, some grain has grown. So when we take up that grain and when we eat that grain, so that souls enter into the male body. And when that soul enter into the male body, when there is a impregnation happens, that souls enter and take a shelter of a woman embryo, and further that embryo goes and a good progeny is created. So yagna performs a very important role in having good progeny. The people who does not perform yagna, nowadays we see in Kali Yuga, the children, that those who are taking birth, how restless they are. All such thing we can see in the today's age children. Why? Because there is a lack of yagnas. Yagnas means our action are not meant for the pleasure of the Lord, but our own satisfaction. So what is happening? The progeny that people are getting is not at all a progeny of good quality. So when we perform yagna, we can have even good progeny. And in Kali Yuga, what is the yagna which is mentioned? Is Sankirtana Yagna. Why Sankirtana Yagna? Because to perform such yagnas, which used to happen in the age of Treta Yuga, it is not possible to conduct such yagna in the age of Kali. Why? Because such yagnas require a lot of resources. Resources in the terms of, there are particular yagnik brahmanas which are required to perform such yagna. And those yagnik brahmanas are very qualified. And there is a team of brahmanas, at least there is a 4 team of brahmanas which performs yagna. The one who chant the mantras, the one who kindles the fire, who takes care of Agni, one who offer oblations into the fire, and one who supervise the entire yajna. So they are teams of Yagnik Brahmanas, and they are very qualified. And such qualified Brahmanas are not possible in this age of Kali Yuga. Second, one need lot of resources in terms of money. If we say in today's age, if somebody wants to conduct such yagna, they need to have millions and billions of rupees to conduct such yagnas. Whereas one can simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord can derive the benefit of performing Ashwamedha Yagna. Simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can derive the same benefit in this age of Kali Yuga. And to perform such yagnas, one need milk of particular cow from which ghee is obtained or prepared. And to perform such yagnas, one need ghee in thousands of kg. One need to have all the vessels which are used in yagna should be made of gold. The person who is conducting such yagna, he should satisfy all the brahmanas by nicely feeding them, by nicely giving them all the things like jewels or cows in abundance. He should give and satisfy the brahmanas, which is not at all practically possible in this age. And those yagnas are just like today's. If we conduct yagna, it goes for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or for an hour or 2 hours or so. But those days, yagna used to happen for years together. For years together, such yagnas used to happen. So today, in today's age, what is the process is yagna sanketana praya yajanti hi sumedasa. Now here one more thing, very important thing is mentioned is sumedasa. So somebody would like to share why it is meant, or why only intelligent people will worship the Lord by sanketana. Yes, somebody would like to share.
If we pray together, we will develop together. If we dance together, we will develop together.
Okay, yes, someone else. Why only intelligent people will take up this process of sanketana yagna?
I think maybe by insufficient intelligence, the verse means that whoever is in the nature of goodness, they are intelligent, and so they will know that worshipping of God, Lord, is important, and they will only be endowed with such benefits in the Kali Yuga.
Okay. Yes, anyone else?
प्रभु जी, चैतन्य महाप्रभु ने नाम हरिदास ठाकुर को पूछे थे, हरिदास ठाकुर, जो लोग यज्ञ करते हैं, जो लोग नाम संकीर्तन करते हैं, उनका हरिनाम करते हैं, उनका तो उद्धार हो जाता है। बाकी जो मनुष्य छोड़ के जो पशु पक्षी, ये लोग जो नहीं कर पाते हैं, बोल नहीं पाते हैं, हरिनाम संकीर्तन नहीं कर पाते हैं, तो इनका उद्धार कैसे होगा? तब उन्होंने ये बोला था कि ये जो नाम करेंगे, हरे कृष्ण हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, ये नाम जो प्रतिध्वनि इको है, उसी में उनको कान में जाएगा, उसी में वो उद्धार पा जाएगा। पशु पक्षी, एनिमल जो भी है, मनुष्य छोड़ के।
Okay. So why it is mentioned one should be intelligent? Only intelligent people can take up this process of sankirtana yagna is, we can understand this by an example. Once there was a mother, she gave one stone to his son, and she asked him that you go and try to find the value of this stone. What is the value of this stone? So that her son, he went and asked his friends, but she warns his son that do not sell this stone, just get the value, don't sell this stone. So he goes to his friend, and they find this stone is very attractive, very nice. So they are ready to exchange this stone with some marbles. Some children, they play with the marbles, so they are ready to exchange this stone with some marbles. Now he goes to some vegetable vendor. That vegetable vendor, he says, this stone is nice, it weights good, so I'll use it to weigh the vegetables. So in return, I will give you some vegetables. Then he further goes, and he goes to one rickshawala. That rickshawala, he shows that stone. He says, I'll drop you till so and so place. You can travel freely. You can give me this stone. So he comes back, returns to his mother, and narrate the entire event, that how different people has valued this stone in different way. Then his mother, she tells, please go to such and such person, such and such shop, and then you try to figure out the value of this stone. So he goes to that shop, and that shop is of shop of jewelry. So when he showed that stone to this person, he analyzed that stone, and he says the value of this stone cannot be sufficient if I sell entire my shop. Against my entire shop, whatever jewelry I am having, if I give you, still this stone is so valuable, it cannot be equivalent to this stone. It will not be equivalent. So if we see different people, based on the knowledge or the intelligence they had about the stone, they valued differently. Same way, the person who has intelligence, what kind of intelligence? Spiritual intelligence. What is spiritual intelligence? What is spiritual intelligence? Who am I? What is the purpose of life? All these things is Athato Brahma Jignasa. One who have such kind of intelligence to inquire, make inquiries, such person will take up this process. Such person will take up this process, and Krishna will guide him in such a way that he'll take up this process of Sankirtana Yajna and perfect his life in a short interval of time. He can perfect his life in a short interval of time. So that's why a person who knows the value of this human form of life, only such persons will take up this process of Sankirtan Yajna. The person who know that this human form of life is very rare, the person who knows that human form of life is meant for higher purposes, not to just gratify the senses or live comfortably. The purpose of this human life is to attain spiritual perfection, not to just do good to others or live comfortably or have a moral life. Such person will take up this process of Sankirtana Yajna, and it is a very easiest process. It is a very easiest process, and it is a sublime process. We'll move ahead. Next verse. Devan bhavya tanena te deva bhavya yantu baha parasparam bhaveyantaha shreya param avapashyataha. The demigod, being pleased by sacrifices, will also please you. Thus nourish one another. There will be being general prosperity for all. So in the 9th verse, Krishna mentioned that sacrifice has to be performed, yajna has to be performed. In this verse, Krishna mentioned what is the purpose of yagna, or why this yagna is required. The purpose of this yagna is to sustain the entire creation. This verse is also same. In next verse, Krishna is going to tell what if somebody does not perform the yagna. So we will discuss this verse itself. We'll read the translation, purport. The demigods are empowered administrators of material affairs. The supply of air, water, light, and all other benedictions for maintaining the body and soul of every living entity are entrusted to the demigods, who are innumerable assistants in different parts of the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Their pleasure and displeasures are dependent upon the performance of yagna by human beings. So now, when somebody performs the yagna, these demigods, they get their share in those yagna. This yagna is completely meant for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, but in those sacrifice also, they get the share. How they get the share? When the Supreme Lord, yagna is performed for the Supreme Lord Krishna or Vishnu, as a prasada, they receive the share. As a prasada, they receive the share. Or this thing, how you can see is, if you have visited South Indian temple, in there is a Bali Peetham. Bali Peetham is the place where they keep Krishna Prasadam or Vishnu Prasadam for all the demigods. They can come and have the Krishna Prasadam. Once a bhoga or food stuffs are offered to the Supreme Lord, it becomes prasad, and that prasad is kept for all the demigods to come and have that. Same way, when yagna is performed, all the demigods get their share as a prasadam. So this, when they receive their share, they are very happy because they are controller of all the material resources. Just like here it is mentioned, air, water, light, sunlight, all these are controlled by the demigods. Even our body part, suppose with my eyes I am able to see, it is just because one demigod is there who has given that strength to me to see. My hands are there. These hands are because of demigods. My mind is there. It is working. Intelligence, that is because of Soma, moon god. So all these different demigods control our different body parts. So when we please or serve Supreme Personality of Godhead, they get pleased. We'll read further. Some of the yagnas are meant to satisfy particular demigod, but even in so doing, Lord Vishnu is worshipped in all yagnas as the chief beneficiary. Even we perform some yagna for particular Devi Devta or demigod, still Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu is the chief beneficiary or chief worshipable deity. When that Lord is satisfied, is served, after that yagna shishta or that yagna prasada is offered to that particular demigod. It is stated also in Bhagavad Gita that Krishna himself is the beneficiary of all kinds of yagnas, bhoktaram yagna tapasam. Therefore, ultimate satisfaction of Yagnapati is the chief purpose of all the yagnas. Who is Yagnapati? Krishna or Vishnu is the Yagnapati. And their satisfaction is the entire purpose of the yagna. When these yagnas are perfectly performed, naturally demigods in charge of different departments of supply are pleased. There is no scarcity in the supply of natural products. See, so when these yagnas are performed, automatically there will be abundance of all the natural resources. Just like by serving Krishna, nobody loses something. Why? Because once you serve Krishna, automatically all nature is ready to facilitate all kind of facilities to you, so that you can serve Krishna in better way, more efficient way. You can serve Krishna more and more. Even Mother Lakshmi, she empowers. Then only it is possible to serve Krishna. And once during Prabhupada time in 1970s or so, when Prabhupada he visited India, especially in Hyderabad, when he visited, there was a drought for so many years. The rain was not happening. So in Hyderabad, they continuously performed Sankirtan Yagna. They performed Harinam Sankirtan for a very long time, for a day or two or some 3 days. Like that, they performed Yagna. When they performed Yagna for any number of hours, for 2-3 days, what happened? Immediately rain started. And that news came into the newspapers, and everyone was very happy. And even many of you might have heard, there was a Bhopal gas tragedy case. There was a Bhopal gas tragedy during 90s. So those days, what was the solution? How they get rid of those harmful gases? By performing yagnas. So by performing yagnas, one who participates in the yagna, one who conducts the yagna, and one who performs the yagna, they all get purified. Their existence get purified. Not only that, entire atmosphere get purified. So when we chant this Hare Krishna mantra, we are chanting, we are getting benefit. Suppose somebody next to us is sitting, he is hearing our voice, what he is doing, he is getting benefit. That entire place where we are chanting, that place is getting purified. So that is the effect of yagna. We'll read further. Performance of yagna has many side benefits, ultimately leading to liberation from the material bondage. By performance of yagnas, all activities become purified, as stated in the Vedas. So here, performance of yagnas has many side effects, or many, we can say, byproducts. What was byproducts? In purport Prabhupada mentioned. Anyone would like to share what byproduct Prabhupada mentions? Just now we read that. Anyone? Prabhupada, here he mentioned that one can attain godly qualities. One can attain godly qualities just by performing yagna. Where it is? Here. By performance of yagna, conditioned soul gradually become Krishna consciousness and become godly in all respects. This is one of the byproduct of performing yagna. Side effects of performing yagna. But that is not all in all. One attains the perfection of life by, like, suppose one attains all these godly qualities, one attains all kinds of opulence, all different benefits are there to perform yagna. But ultimate goal of performing yagna is what? To get liberate from the material bondage. To come out of this bondage of material existence, to come out of the cycle of birth and death, to attain the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, to attain shelter of Lord Krishna, to go to the Vaikuntha, to go to his abode, Golok Vrindavan. That is the purpose of performing yagna. And by performance of yagnas, all activities become purified, as stated in the Vedas. Ahara Shuddho. Ahar means our food stuff gets purified. Sattva shuddhi. Sattva shuddhi means our existence get purified. Our existence get purified. And when our existence get purified, dhruva mati smriti. Dhruva smriti means our mind is become very conducive. Our mind becomes very conducive to think of spiritual subject matter. Our mind get purified, and when mind get purified, we can think of spiritual subject matter. And when we can think of a spiritual subject matter, when we can read scriptures, it will click. We can understand the scripture. Just like many people that read Bhagavad Gita, it's very difficult for them to understand at first go. Why? Because purification has not happened sufficiently. So gradually, when purification happens by serving the Supreme Lord, by performing yajna or acting for His pleasure, what happens? This Bhagavad Gita we can understand much more in detail. That's why one of the key of understanding Bhagavad Gita is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. When one serves Krishna, he can understand Bhagavad Gita very easily. Then, by understanding all the scriptures, ultimate goal is what? Vedasya sarver ahameva vedyo. To attain Krishna, to get out of this material bondage. Vipra mokshaha. To get out of this material bondage. We'll read as it will be explained in the following verses. By performance of yajnas, one's eatable becomes sanctified. And by eating sanctified food, one's very existence becomes purified. And by purification of existence, finer tissues in the memory become sanctified. And when memory is sanctified, one can think of path of liberation. And all these combined together lead to Krishna consciousness, the greatest necessity of present day society. So here, this is one of the essence of the Vedas. One of the essence of the Vedas is Ahar Shuddho, means how one can attain moksha or free from bondage of material existences by this process. And this process Prabhupada has very simply or very easily introduced in this Krishna Consciousness Society. How he has introduced? By introducing prasadam. He has developed a system where everything, all the food stuff should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. And when it is offered, the bhoga is offered, it becomes prasadam. And when one eats that prasadam, he can understand or he can develop that relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Then it is very much possible. So Prabhupada, when he went to Western countries, what he did, he simply gave sufficient prasadam, all the Westerners. He satisfied them by giving prasadam. They were hippies. So only thing he did is giving them nice prasadam, feeding them nice prasadam, and performing sankirtana. Like this, he made people to spiritually advance. He helped them. He personally used to cook for them. They used to eat 10 chapatis, 20 chapatis. They had such kind of appetite. Prabhupada used to cook for them and fed them very nice prasadam. So gradually they become devotees, they become Vaishnavas. They started understanding the philosophy. Prasadam is one of the essence of the Vedas, and Prabhupada has very simply, he has given this to us. He has given this to all of us, that opportunity to have Krishna Prasadam every day. Lunch, breakfast, dinner, all such we can have Krishna Prasadam only. Yes, so anyone has any question or anything to share or ask?
Yeah, Prabhuji, like I remember I think, Steve Jobs also, I think, was going to ISKCON in UK. I think,
Yes.
when he was studying, and also like I remember my own days, like, when we were in Hamburg about 20 years back, there used to be an Afghan Hindu temple. Like, we used to go on a Sunday morning, lunchtime, and there were a lot of Gnostics in my group. Like, they were also coming along with me, and just for the sake of they don't have to cook in the lunchtime, and they used to have a delicious meal. And later they started orienting towards the God and spirituality. I mean, I see that in my own life. Yeah.
Yes, prasadam is very, very powerful. Steve Jobs, I think in his Stanford, uh, what we say, when he was receiving his degree, during that time he shares that he used to walk 7 miles to get one meal from this Hare Krishna temples. He was
Yeah,
sharing that.
absolutely. Yeah.
So actually, this prasadam is very, very powerful. When one eats the prasadam, it directly develops the personal relationship with the Supreme Lord. Directly develops that personal relationship. There is a particular very nice pastime. How just by eating one grain of prasadam, Lord Shiva, he came into ecstasy. He was so happy, he was so joyful that he started performing tandav just by eating one grain of prasadam. So this prasadam is very, very powerful. So every one of us, we should try that at least once in a day. We should make some offering, some fruits, some dry fruits, even water, even some cooked meals, sweet, or some chapati with some sabji having without onion, garlic. We should offer at least one meal or one offering to the Lord every day, and we should accept it as a prasadam. There is a proper offering process how one should offer to the Supreme Lord Krishna. When we offer in such a way, he accepts, and when that becomes prasadam, it is very, very potent. And when one takes that prasadam, it purifies our existence, as we read now. It purifies our existence. Yes, any other question or anything to share or ask?
Prabhu, I have two questions.
Yes.
So in the first 3.10 verse, we read about becoming godly. So I want you to just explain me how can we become godly, because we are chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, how we will see the changes in ourselves that we are becoming godly. Like, if you can just explain it in detail. And the other one is
Yes.
like, how can we make prasadam at home? Because we usually just offer it or keep it in front of the Lord wherever we have our deities. So is it okay if we just put it there, and or there is a specific process that we need to follow?
Yes, so there is a process. I'll explain that also. First question is how we can experience or how we can see that we are developing these godly qualities. So when you chant this Hare Krishna mantra, you will see over a period of time, not immediately, but after 1 year or 2 year, you will start feeling the changes in you. You will start feeling that some kind of, you know, earlier I remember I used to be little impatient. So now over a period of time that patience is developing. All the such qualities are there. So over a period of time we see all these divine qualities will start manifesting in us when we are in association with the Supreme Lord. How? By chanting his holy name. We get in association with the Supreme Lord, and when we are in association of the Supreme Lord, we develop such qualities very easily. And those qualities, just like there was a one hunter, his name was Mrigari. He used to stay in Prayag. So when Narad Muni, he was going near Prayag, not in exactly in Prayag, he used to stay near Prayag. So when Narad Muni, he went to Prayag to take his dip there, while returning he saw that some animals, they are half died. They are, suffering from lot of pain. So when he saw that Narad Muni, because he is a devotee, he is very Vaishnava qualities, para dukha dukhi. By seeing other people in painful situation, they feel very pain. So Narad Muni, he felt lot of pain for those animals. So he tried to figure out what is the reason of such killing by which these animals are suffering. So he saw that there is a hunter, and that hunter is shooting the arrows in such a way that all these animals are not completely killed, they are half killed and they are suffering. So by seeing this Narad Muni, this hunter, he got little, what is this? Who is such person? He tried to hide himself. That hunter, he got little this thing shy. He felt very shy and he tried to hide himself. Narad Muni asked him, "Who has done this?" The hunter replies that I have done this. Narad Muni asked, "Okay, please come out. I want to see you." So Narad Muni asked various questions. Why you have done this? Why you have done this? You should have killed them completely if you want to kill. Why you are making them suffer? He says, I take lot of rejoice. I enjoy when these animals are suffering. I enjoy this thing. And my father, I have learnt this art from my father, and my father has learnt this from my grandfather. Like that, it is our family business, and I enjoy killing this animal in such a way. Then Narad Muni says, do you know what will be the consequences of such killing? He says, no, I don't know. So Narad Muni explains that the way you are killing such animals, one day these animals will kill you the same way and you have to suffer the same pain. You have to suffer the same pain. So by the association of Narad Muni, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kaya, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhiya. So having such association of pure devotee, exalted Vaishnava, who is none other than he is a Mahajana. So by having association of such exalted devotee, what happened? He got purified. This Mrigari, he got purified and he wanted to understand. Now he is able to understand and he want to understand more in detail. So he understood, oh, by killing, I am killing these animals today, tomorrow I also have to go through the same pain. So he asked Narad Muni, now please, you only can save me. Please tell me how I can be protected. So Narad Muni, he guides this Mrigari and says him, first you go and throw this your bow and arrow. Go and throw this bow and arrow. So Mrigari asks that if I throw this bow and arrow, how I will survive? This is my source of livelihood. How I will survive? So Narad Muni says, don't worry. Krishna will provide you everything. Don't worry. So then he goes and breaks his arrow, throws his arrow. And Narad Muni says, whatever you have earned by killing these animals, go and give all those belongings to the Vaishnavas, to the sadhus, to the brahmanas. He goes and he gives away all the things that he has acquired or earned by killing these animals in the charities to the brahmanas, Vaishnavas. Then he gives this mantra to Mrigari. He gives the holy name of the Lord to Mrigari. This Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. And he tells him that you go and chant this mantra along with Tulsi Maharani in the association of Tulsi Maharani. Keep one Tulsi Maharani and chant this mantra. So he follows the exact process that Narad Muni has told. Now what happened? Gradually, few days passed by and this news spread to the entire village that great hunter Mrigari has left his profession of hunting and he has become a great devotee of the Lord. He's chanting the holy name of the Lord. So as this news spread to the entire village, now everyone wants to come and see what kind of transformation has happened, how such thing has happened to this Mrigari hunter. So everyone, when they visit somebody, So they are carrying some kind of fruit, somebody is carrying something, somebody is carrying something as a gift. So everyone is carrying something. So when they visit, they give all these gifts to Mrigari. So at the end of day, Mrigari is seeing that he is having something more than sufficient. So he was realizing that my spiritual master Narad Muni, he told, do not worry. Now he has sent so much. I have so much, like so many days I can pass just by having all these foods and all. Then after some time, when Narad Muni came to visit this Mrigari, he and Narad Muni and his brother or friend Parvat Muni, they were both together. So Narad Muni told, my disciple is nearby, I'll just make a visit to him. So Parvat Muni was asking, who is your disciple? He said, he is a hunter, Mrigari. So Parvat Muni asked, you have all such different kind of disciples. Some weird disciples. Sometime your snake is disciple, some child is disciple, this time hunter is disciple. So you have all such a different kinds of disciple. Some demon is your disciple. So he was making fun of Narad Muni. So when they both arrived, and this Mrigari, he was coming from his hut to meet his spiritual master Narad Muni. While he was coming, approaching his spiritual master, he was walking in different way. Sometimes he is jumping, wingling, different way he is walking. So this Parvat Muni is he asked Narad Muni, is your disciple has some problem in the legs? He's walking so weirdly different way. What is the problem? So Narad Muni says, okay, once let him come and we will ask this question to him. So this Mrigari, he reaches to Narad Muni, offers his pranam to both Narad Muni and Parvat Muni, his Danvats. So Parvat Muni, he asked this question, why you were walking such a different way? What was the reason? So this Mrigari says, while I was coming, I saw there were a lot of ants. There were a lot of ants on the way, on my passage. So I don't want to kill them. They are part and parcel of the Lord. I don't want to kill them. So now Parvat Muni understood. So we can understand how just by chanting the holy name of the Lord, once the hunter who was killing the animals mercilessly, how he don't want to kill even a small ant now. So such divine qualities can easily manifest in any jiva who chants the holy name of the Lord. All such divine qualities can easily manifest once who chants the holy name of the Lord. Now coming to the hope, first question is clear. Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So next is how we can make offering to the Lord. So there is a process to make offering to the Lord. One is you prepare the food stuff with your clean hands and all those things. One should prepare nice food stuff for the Lord, which is free from onion and garlic. And one should take all those quantities properly in the vessels and make a nice plate or offering plate for the Lord. And after that, one should add tulsi leaf in all the offerings. Suppose you have made 4 items, so 4 tulsi leaf you should add along with a water of glass having tulsi. Then one should place that in the front of the Lord, and there are certain mantras one should chant, and there are 3-4 mantras I'll share with you. So after chanting these 3-4 mantras, one should wait for 2 to 3 minutes, or if it is a big meal like lunch and dinner, you can wait 5 to 10 minutes, depends upon circumstances also. So you offer in that way, and after removing the offering, there is again Hare Krishna mantra you have to chant 3-4 times. There is a proper process I'll share. So then you chant 3 times Hare Krishna mantra and remove the offering and mix all those items into the main vessel or serving vessel. You mix all those items and then it can be honored as a prasadam. It can be consumed as a prasadam. I'll share video also. I'll share the process also. Okay. Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Any other question? Okay. So we will. Okay. So from today, just to summarize, what we have understood is these yajnas are so potent. Just by performing these yajnas, entire creation can be sustained. Even our own self, we can easily sustain by performing these yajnas. By satisfying Lord Vishnu or Krishna, by serving him, we can easily sustain ourselves. So these yajnas are very, very powerful in all aspects, not only materially, spiritually, in all aspects one can make a sustain himself or even entire. Just a person who performs the yagna, entire surrounding can be sustained just by a one person who performs the yagna. Prabhupada says at one place, we are performing this Sankirtana yagna. That's why this, even though Kali Yuga is going on, people are having some kind of peace. But gradually, when this Sankirtana yagna not no longer will be performed, Kali Yuga will take his peak. Kali Yuga will start in peak. So that's why this yagna is very, very important to be performed. Okay, so we will end here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki,
जय
Srila Prabhupada ki,
जय
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna.